I'm not especially well at the moment, so you're just gonna have to deal with this voice. Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and yes, the title is not a lie. It never is. I have played Rhythm Paradise / Rhythm Heaven Groove, whichever one you prefer to call it. It's all based on region, innit? Don't worry, I fixed it. Yes, Nintendo invited me down to their headquarters in the UK to have a go at the game, and I got to play for, I think it ended up being about an hour, maybe not quite an hour, something like that. So not loads of time, but I did get to try out a fair few different bits, and I'm gonna stand here and I'm gonna tell you my opinions. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling. Let's dive right into things. So, my time with Rhythm Paradise or Rhythm Heaven Groove. I'm probably going to chop and change between the two because I've always known it as Rhythm Heaven, and then suddenly it's Rhythm Paradise in this country. Always has been. It's just this is the first one that I've properly played. I know. I got to play a fair few of the single-player games. I also got to do some multiplayer with some of the other people that were there. And then I got to do some of the new one, which they sort of mentioned in the Direct. I mean, they showed off a reasonable chunk of it. It's called Beat Spell. They just didn't... I swear they didn't mention it by name. I swear they didn't mention it by name. But I'm going to get onto that in a bit. I'm gonna do it in that order. But that way, I like that one. Now, if you haven't played a Rhythm Paradise game before, the basic concept is it's extremely simple. You press a button in time with the rhythm, and it's usually just one. Sometimes it's two in the games that I played. And this game is no different. Okay, yes, some games you tap on the screen. You're not doing that here. That might have worked, I didn't try. Probably not, because you got to do two buttons sometimes. And you'll be doing things like jumping through a hoop as a small sort of white orb thing, or, you know, sort of catching a frisbee as a dog, or, you know, like opening up an umbrella that's also your head. You know, whimsical stuff, and you've got to do it in time to the beat. And, you know, usually you're just doing it in time. You'll get like lead up, you'll go like pop, 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 pa, and that last one's the one you've got to do. And the windows are actually quite narrow. I feel it's definitely better undocked rather than on TV, because obviously TV introduces more input lag. It's obviously been designed for, you know. If you know, you know. And I imagine there's quite a few people who haven't played a game in the series who are sort of thinking, is that it? And the answer is pretty much, yeah, it is pretty much just that. But the devil is in the detail when it comes to this stuff. And it's about the animations. It's about the little changes every so often that you get in these instances. And I had a good time with the individual, like, single-player things. Although, admittedly, you do, you know, sort of, each level may only be, or like game, I think they're called. Each game, you know, will maybe last a minute or two, give or take. And so you do sort of feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes the rhythm, you know, suddenly you won't need to be doing it on the beat. It'll be off beat, you know, syncopated or something like that. And that does change things up. Sometimes they'll give you clues and like indicators. Sometimes those indicators will be at a different speed. Sometimes they won't be there at all. You know, subtle changes here and there to keep you interested, but it can't be denied that the gameplay is tremendously simple. However, I also got to try Remix, which is where it takes basically all the games that I played, and then it's like a mashup of them. So you're doing a bit of this game, and then you're doing a bit of that game, and the rhythm's different, the music's different, and things like that. And it's taking what you understand from the games you've played and putting it in a different context. And it's not, you know, sort of earth-shattering or anything like that, but it almost feels like playing the games individually is almost like practice, and then Remix is the real game, at least in this mode. And I honestly really enjoyed it. It still is very simple, but it's also strangely satisfying. It's like the lizard part at the back of your brain. It's not actually a lizard, as far as we know. That bit of your brain that is just like coded to understand rhythm and to reward you when you understand and sort of like go in time with a rhythm and you recognize it. Admittedly, that is quite a distinctly human thing, so maybe lizard part of the brain was not the best term to use. I'm confusing myself. But the long and short of it, it is oddly rewarding. Like, oddly rewarding. I'm certain the same could be said for other games in the series. Suffice it to say, it's the same here. Nice you can do it on a TV. And speaking of TV, that is how I played the 2 multiplayer games as well. The first one that I played was, they showed off in the direct. You're a ninja or some sort of ninja adjacent kind of character, and the king's carriage is, sort of, oh no, there's arrows coming, and you've got to swipe those arrows away with your katana in time to the beat. And I'm going to blame the TV for this and the extra input lag that comes with it, but I was rubbish at this. I was rubbish to the point that due to my inaction, or rather my clumsiness, the king did suffer an untimely fate. I mean, it wasn't that untimely, but even so, it said game over, so it can't have been all good. But we had another pop and that went a little bit better. I think we even won by the skin of our teeth. And you know what, it was all right. It was simple. It was difficult. Like, those timing windows are really, really mean. But you know what? It was fun. It was fine. But it was the other game that I really enjoyed, despite being even simpler. So here's your premise. You've got 4 people sat down around a table, and there's a single piece of cake. And you have to wait until 3 o'clock to get that piece of cake. And the person who presses A closest to 3 o'clock on the dot to the millisecond will get that piece of cake. You get that piece of cake, your hair grows to establish dominance, and you gain a point in the form of a slice of cake. Yes, it's weird. Despite the concept being like the simplest Mario Party minigame imaginable, it was strangely replayable. I only have 1 round, it just so happens to be the round that I won. I've only got 1 recorded. But, I will admit, when we did the second round, I don't have footage of it, but it did happen. Another Alex who was at the event got it exactly on the time, like 000. And that was pretty special. Sorry I didn't record it. But that's all much of what you would expect, obviously. But beat spell, that's where things get different. I mean, not that different. You're still pressing buttons in time to beat, but isn't that all games are? So you got like this like 4-way, it's not, I suppose it is sort of a grid, but it's going around in this sort of diamond shape, and it's going around in a beat, if you can imagine such a mad concept in a game called Rhythm Paradise. And depending on when you press buttons and what buttons you press in regards to where it is on that diamond, you will cast different spells, and you have enemies that you have to defeat, and they attack you and stuff like that. And I was only allowed to do 2 levels, which felt, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit mean, but I got to do 2 levels, so I got 2 spells. I got a standard fire attack, and I got a healing spell, which, big points if you can guess what that does. Fire spell was simple, it was just A, B, like that. But the healing spell was A down B. So you had to sort of like do it in that. And again, yeah, it's super simple gameplay. All the gameplay within this game is unbelievably straightforward. But it's everything around it that kind of builds it up. And weirdly, this game, the fact that you're sort of going like A, B, A, B, A, B, A down B, A down, just like heal yourself. It was weirdly engaging, more so than like the main game. It does give me a little bit of pause because I don't know how big this mode is going to be. I got kind of Street Pass Quest vibes from it, and that was too big. But if this ends up being like a good sort of like, few hours of gameplay, like little RPG-ness, I mean, I think your stats like all get reset at the end of each level, which was a little bit disappointing, but again, I only got to play 2 levels. I got a very, very small amount to actually play, but I really enjoyed it. It wasn't especially challenging, to be brutally honest with you, and sort of the better your rhythm is, the more damage you do with your fire spell, or the more health you heal. It's hardly revolutionary, and it's pretty much what you would expect. But it was weirdly engaging, and I think that's how I would describe the whole of Rhythm Heaven. Or Rhythm Feaven. The gameplay is very simple to understand, a little bit difficult to master in certain areas. I mean, to get like absolutely perfect, it is quite challenging, but to just pass, it's not too bad. But it's everything around it. It's the charm of the animations. It's the music, the ridiculously catchy music. It's everything around the gameplay, weirdly, that is selling it, and the gameplay is kind of like the glue that holds it all together. It's weird. I can see why for so long, so many people have been going on and on and on about this series, and I've never played it. I just haven't. It's not because I wasn't interested. It's just sort of like, oh yeah, there it is. I've heard good things, but I've got other things to play. It happens to the best of us. But given that it's a Nintendo game and therefore it comes with a relative premium, you know, they don't sell their games very, very cheap. I think it's about £30, give or take. If I'm wrong, may I be smoten by Miyamoto himself. But I am apprehensive that the full game is not necessarily going to fulfill that kind of price point for everyone. I mean, obviously there are always going to be some outliers, but I can't help but feel that there are going to be quite a few people who would expect a bit more from the game. But I don't know, because I haven't played the full game. I've only played a little slice. But I suppose what it comes down to is, do I want to play more? And the answer's, yeah, I do want to play more. Because it's fun, it's charming, it's simple, it's easy to pick up, difficult to master. Yeah, okay, you know, it may not be pushing any major boundaries in terms of gameplay, but you know what? It's very well made. It's nice and polished. I mean, you'd hope so, considering how basic it is. And all in all, it's just a good time. I had a good time. But those are only my thoughts. Have you played previous games in the series? Are you keen to see what this new entry can offer? Let us know with a comment down below. Doesn't have to be as raspy as mine. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you click that subscribe button now, and be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.